Hey, what's happening? How's everybody doing? Good evening. It's Saturday, August the 9th. It's about 7 p.m. So, welcome back to the channel. I guess it's like a welcome to you, a welcome back me. A couple of different things. So, yeah, it's been a minute. It's been a while. A couple weeks ago, I was trying to post on a community tab. It's just been a little bit challenging, to say the least. Just a lot going on. Anybody that's here, stateside, you kind of understand depending on where you are and what's going on where you are. Yeah, I'll just to kind of stay out of that because there's a place and a time for that. I don't want that to be the emphasis and the subject focus of this first video back. So welcome. For anybody that's new, I've been obviously out of the loop, lost some people understandably. No harm, no foul, because like I said, not really consistent here. There were some things that were going on in life, personal, professional, that kind of just got in the way. Just to be completely transparent, there were days where I was looking to come back to the house after work and live stream. There's actually a video on the channel where literally I was trying to do that, kept getting phone calls, totally distracted. And I think one of the comments on that video was like, hey, you can't you should focus, blah blah blah. And I was like, hey, thanks for the feedback. And it wasn't like a slight. It was an honest thing. It's like, hey, yeah, like I know that. I know I'm not, I'm not that guy. Not yet. But that's positive reinforcement. All right. But yeah, still plugging away, still doing my thing. More or less in Tradeify. I've been working through and posting those screenshots from Tradeify. Couple, what's it been? 2 months? 2 months back, got stuck in a position in my XFA, could not exit, blown, torched. So I was trading a Tradeify account and a Top Step account when that situation happened with Top Step, and I just never went back and said, hey, let me start again. So actually this past Friday, with the new dashboard and everything, I had a couple of issues a while back when they instituted the new dashboard, and I guess whatever the update was that kind of got rolled out to everybody, I think, on this past Friday. I went on ahead and then just kind of went back in on another 50K. Could have gone higher, and I believe the email that came out says, for anybody that's received that email, it basically says to you that, let me see if I can find it, and then I can pull it up so I don't have to walk you through and tell you something inevitably that sorry about that. Let me get my life together here and I'll pull that up and show you. I'm gonna have to search it. Yeah, it was back on the. It wasn't even that long ago. It was back on the 5th. So this is. Just want to make sure you can see it. Yeah. So this is the email that you'll get, and it talks about 25% off. And hi Jeremy. I'm Jeremy. But yeah, it tells you basically here, if you receive this email, it just simply says 25% off your first month up to 5 accounts for any size trading combine. And that is the code. I think the people that received it, I don't think I'm showing you something that I cannot show you. But yeah, so I got that email Friday, but previous in the week, I was able to get it. But like I said, just didn't want to get bogged and caught down in just a lot of foolishness. So yeah, this is kind of like my comeback video, if you will. I'm going to try to start implementing more live streams, devote a little bit more time. I might actually be doing with those sessions more off-camera things, meaning I might do a live stream and just not have my webcam up, and it might just be price action and whatever, and I might just annotate on the chart. It just kind of depends. My work schedule is still what it was before. I typically just take like one day off a week, which is a Wednesday, which is sometimes a good or a bad thing depending on what's going on in the market that week. Like kind of this week coming up is a CPI week. So you know, it might be a tape read. We don't know. I don't know. But yeah, that's like the one day out of the week. The lives are probably going to be anywhere from a post New York open, maybe a PM session, maybe some Globex where we know it's going to be a little bit slower, and maybe that opens up, you know, time for what we've had, and which I absolutely enjoyed. For the duration of time when I was, you know, showing some level of consistency with the lives, like some great conversations, great insight, feedback, you know, banter in the chat, jokes. Like it was great. And, you know, I kind of missed that interaction. And I've just spent like the last couple of months, honestly, like I said, still kind of grinding away in the background. Not to the extent that I would like, but just a lot of back testing, tape reading, just trying to get better, just trying to get, you know, more proficient and whatnot. So yeah. And as you can see, I've got like, I'm just, again, I'm like a gym rat. So on the weekends, that I'd said this once before, like I'm kind of like a gym rat, but I don't mind always looking and exploring, you know, different markets and testing out, you know, different concepts, or forward testing, back testing, whatever. Right. And I even do it with crypto, and it's like I said, it's a one-off. I don't make a big deal out of any of it, but this balance is ridiculous. Yes, I know. I've had this account for like forever. So I'm going to slide that down because that's just that's a hell of a distraction. But yeah, just I was playing this position out from yesterday. I had to stop down here, and I've just moved it basically to break even. But while we're here, we can do a quick look at what I would be looking for with NQ on the combine, actually. So tomorrow, I'm literally just Globex open. For right now, I would say probably looking to live stream this, but you know, kind of have it's going to be like a wait see, and I may record the sessions and upload them. So I'm kind of still on the fence as to whether or not, you know, how I want to do it, because like I said, I want to be a little bit more consistent, and I want to be able to be available and also responsible to you. You know, my subscribers are part of the community that, you know, you'll look maybe not necessarily to see a position or anything like that, but just, hey, what was Jeremy thinking today, or, you know, did he do anything, or what, you know, what was the motivation, or what was the trepidation of not, you know what I mean? So maybe a live and maybe just some recorded videos. Hopefully not too long, just depends, right? And to be honest with you guys, like I said, I'm still kind of fleshing that out. Wednesdays would be ideal, you know, for the lives, because I'm here. We could do the open, depending again on economic data and reports, and then throughout the week, depending on when I get back, I could still do, I guess, lives or a combination of lives and recorded streams. So I don't know, just let me know in the comments, because like I said, I'm going to post this regardless. It's unscripted, if you can't tell. Like, I don't, maybe I should. Somebody will probably tell me one of these days, like, hey, you should really script what you're going to say before you say. But I kind of feel like, again, from the inception of this channel, and just from my overall attitude about speculating about, you know, price action trading, candle range trade, like whatever kind of speculator that you are, like for me, I always feel like I'll have an idea of the direction I want a video to go in. But at the end of the day, I like it to take on its own character. I don't like to, it's always good to have a plan. It's always good to have like, key points that you want to bring up. So I'm 100%, I agree with with the summation that, yeah, you would want to have like key points and things that you don't want to forget or get lost in discussion or whatnot that comes up. 100% agree to that. But there's always that overwhelming part of me that prevails that basically says, I want it to be free. I want it to be natural. I don't necessarily want it to be scripted. So whatever happens, happens. And that's one thing that I've always felt like I wanted to predicate myself, especially with this channel. I didn't give myself some, pseudonym in terms of a name where somebody couldn't find me. Like I'm one of two. My son is the only other one. So whatever happens here, whatever I do here, success or failure, doesn't matter. It's me. And I'm the kind of person where I'm not going to run and hide from it. If I'm bad and I suck before anybody else can say it, I'm going to say it about myself. And again, to that point, even if you say it, it really is not going to have a whole lot of bearing on my, my overall emotional outlook or my personal perspective, because I'm a harsh enough critic on myself that there's nothing that anybody can say that's going to, dissuade me from continuing to kind of develop and pursue this thing called speculating that, I absolutely love and enjoy doing. Even when it's handing me my ass for not being patient, not sitting on my hands, not paying attention to certain things. So yeah, despite it all, enjoying it. So yeah, all that done and said, all of that. Yeah, we just look real quick back at the daily and excuse me. We're just looking essentially, good grief, excuse me. From the beginning of the week, we had basically a Monday low of the week. So from a weekly profile, we're pushing all the way up. The interesting thing, though, however, is this was Friday and this is Thursday. So I always like to reference candle range theory and candle range structure. From a candle range perspective, last week we had a Thursday high of the week, but we put in a high. This was obviously Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. We cleared the whole week out. So rather than look at the previous week from maybe say the perspective of a Tuesday, Wednesday high or low based on the news, the entire week in terms of prior to Thursday was cleared out. So Wednesday, Tuesday, and Monday yeah. So each day, ironically enough, like Monday was a doji, Tuesday took out both buy and sell side on Monday, Wednesday took out both sell side buy side of Tuesday, and then Thursday was like, if you did it to him, I'm going to do it to you. You're going to do it to him, I'm going to do it to you. So then Thursday was like, hey, look, I'm going to take the buy side and I'm taking the sell side. And Friday, basically trace lower, grab some of this sell side liquidity down here and then closed. And as this week opened, we opened inside. And honestly, a couple of positions I took, I was short on. Primarily, I was short Tuesday, but I was short at a period of time even on Monday. Very, very small. But this kind of should have been the tip. But here's your closure back inside. Obviously, yes, Tuesday did come back to mitigate a portion of Monday. Wednesday basically grabbed some liquidity here and closed back inside. So in all essence, Wednesday would have been your closure back inside this candle, which is, again, last week's Thursday, which essentially was last week's high and low. Range high and low. And if you're looking at previous week, weekly high, weekly low, again, that ultimately was a catalyst this past Wednesday, because you had basically previous week low has been taken out. it's closed back in, you're regathering, you're creating and generating more liquidity, and it's closure back inside. So again, I'm not going to say simple, easy, but the most obvious draw on liquidity coming up this week is going to be Thursday high. That high is 23,845 flat. So 23,845.00. So that would actually be just, again, the daily objective, which is, again, taking out not this previous week, but 2 weeks ago, previous week high. So that, honestly, that's the objective that I would be looking for coming up. So even going into our Globex period tomorrow, this is realistically what you see. And then that's why I just kind of put a long short tool on here, but don't know what the mitigation is going to look like. Again, going into an economic news week where we're going to have quite a few things that are going to be on tap. So it's just a matter to see how CPI prints ultimately, and also how our jobless claims, initial jobless claims and continuing claims are going to look this week. I don't want to make this video too long, but I will say that last week's numbers a little sketchy as far as I'm concerned, because I will just say this, and I would challenge anybody and everybody out there that looks at not just what the economic data is that's coming out per day, but I want you to go to someplace like my FX book, which is gonna kind of line item identify certain things that happen at specific times. And if you do that, I'd like for you, if you can, and if you can't, that's fine, go back and look at Thursday, initial jobless claims, continuing jobless claims. You're going to see two line items there at 8:30 that up until this past month have not been there before. And they both say, if I remember correctly, they both say preliminary Q2, meaning preliminary. It says preliminary Q2 or it says preliminary release Q2. But in either respect, that's essentially you saying, hey, this is the first time, and it's a pre-release, but this is the first time that this is happening, and we're putting this out there. That was the thing that kind of gave me pause to say, okay, wait a minute, I need a 20-second timeout. Like, what the hell is going on here? Didn't know. So I would say go look at that, and then go look at previous months. Go look at previous weeks when we've had jobless claims. And I can tell you, as a matter of fact, you're not going to see those two line items. You're not even going to see anything close to those line items. So that's why I say coming up this week, I'm going to be very curious to see if, in fact, we see those two line items to also be disclosed from an economic standpoint, a reporting standpoint this week, and if that's an ongoing thing, because I think that will have some bearing on what type of market reaction we get from the data. Okay, so yeah, I think that's gonna wrap the video here. We're at about 19 minutes, so like I said, don't want to make it too long, but yeah, I miss you guys. I appreciate the support. Thank you very much for those that have stuck around. Did not forget about giveaways, so that's still something that'll be in the works, but obviously I've got to work back into that, just in terms of trust, follows, chats, what people are looking for. So I'm looking forward to it. I will say that, we have a little bit of tough sledding ahead of us. I'll say it that way. But I think that the perseverance that's required and necessary is something that we're all capable and able to do. And I think that we just need to do whatever it is possible to make whatever necessary changes permanent, so that we can kind of be some level of prosperous, if not for ourselves for the remainder of our lives, but for potentially and hopefully the generations that follow us. So if you could read between the lines, or you don't and you understand what I said, great. If you don't, I guess it wasn't for you, so don't worry about it. But thank you anyway. I appreciate you for listening. And yeah, I think that's gonna do it for me here. So yeah, either live tomorrow, video tomorrow, one of the two, and I'll see you guys later. So again, thank you very much. Take care. Leave your comments below, and I'll talk to you next time. Take care.